everybody, this is Mike with Point Preparedness. I've got some really strange news coming out of Washington State near Lake Quinault, and this information comes to you from the Weather Channel, no less, similar to the information they provided me on the mysterious water disappearances that are occurring. But you won't believe this. In mere seconds, hundreds of trees all fell together to the ground, spanning a half square mile. This is leaving the Weather Channel and meteorologists completely perplexed as to what happened. You can see them here trying to cut through the trees and get the roadways opened up. But again, they all fell together. They all broke near the base of where the roots are, and that's a pretty strong area of the tree. You don't typically see that with storms. Either the tree completely uproots, or you see lots of the short and small branches fall off, or it breaks near the midrib of the tree. Anyways, you can see the actual area where this occurred, and again, it's pretty big. It's a half square mile, and all the trees fell towards the lake. There is a meteorologist named Cliff Mass, and he has a climate and weather blog, and he has a couple things to say about this. For one, he states this interesting piece of evidence. At 1:26 a.m. that morning, there was a lot of activity. Basically, there was no earthquakes and no tremors, but when you look at the geologic data, there is a huge spike. You can see it all the way down towards the bottom mid-center of this seismic graph. He's saying that that represents all the trees falling at once, again, in mere seconds. So enough force that it would actually be picked on these seismographs, which is pretty nuts. Now, naturally, the Weather Channel is trying to say that this is a microburst, some type of weather phenomenon, but he looked at the wind speeds and he said that they were quite low. But when he looked at the air pressure, he saw that something abrupt and short-lived happened. So at the bottom, you can see this pressure gauge, and there's a little tiny spike towards there, and he said something happened. We don't know what it is, but he does not think it's a microburst. He does not think that this is wind-related. So at the end of his article, he says, this meteorological Sherlock is perplexed. And at the end, you can say there is no strong convection or thunderstorms, so no microburst. So he is actually refuting the Weather Channel's idea that this is storm or microburst related. Now, I did a little bit of digging to see if this happened sometime in the past, and there was actually two separate instances where trees were leveled in mere seconds, and in both cases it's still a mystery. So the first event I found was in Siberia, Russia in 1908. There was this huge explosion that literally came out of nowhere and leveled all the trees, again, in mere seconds. It has been called the Tunguska event. And you can see in this article it says the explosion is generally attributed to the airburst of a meteoroid. It is classified as an impact event even though no impact crater had been found, and so it's still really strange. They can't really recover any meteorological fragments. Again, no impact crater. So today, over 100 years later, it still remains a mystery, and just very, very similar to what happened in Washington State, although it's a much larger area that was involved. I believe this event was inclusive of 770 square miles, so that is significantly bigger. But what is also strange about this event, seeing from the picture here, is that, again, 100 years later, no trees can really grow in ground zero of this impact event. So something was left that is inhibiting growth in that area. Now, there's also a second event that happened, at least from what I could find doing my research, and that was in China. You can see in this article here, mysterious fireballs flattened a Guizhou forest in 1994. Again, very similar circumstances where all these trees were broken at roughly the same spot and leveled in seconds. Now, I went ahead and checked out this Lake Quinault area to see if anything else mysterious was happening in the area over the past couple years, and indeed, it links up to my prior research. this area has experienced the mysterious booms. They've been having it repeatedly and very frequently over the past couple of years. So I don't know, everybody. I'm curious on your thoughts of what this is. To me, it seems very similar to the Guizhou and Tunguska events, which still remain clouded in mystery for over 100 years. I can see people talking about energy weapons because very strange incidents of that has been happening lately, and we know the technology exists. And lastly, if you watch channels like Secure Team 10, you'll notice there is a rampant rise in the number of UFO sightings across the world. And so channels like mine and others have talked about the very real probability that aliens do not exist, and this is actually demonic deception. And so could this be an incident related to UFOs or this disclosure events that's coming up? Regardless of what the true root cause of this is, there is a lot of strange things going on all around the world. Mass animal deaths, fireballs in the sky, sinkholes everywhere, major earthquakes. Just, the list keeps on going on and on and on, not to mention the more human-oriented things like geopolitical turmoil, the stock market being absolutely unstable, the rise of cryptocurrencies and AI. And this is why we talk about the fact that the end times may be here, and we are the terminal generation. Anyways, really appreciate your comments in the YouTube description box. Make sure you subscribe and use the bell icon so you know that you're getting notifications on my videos. This is Mike with On Point Preparedness. God bless.